Said we are doing interviews this week, and we have Lexi coming on the podcast. She was a pretty big person in episode 1.
Yeah, I feel like definitely a fan favorite on Joey's season of The Bachelor. We were lucky enough to have her on during that season to learn more about her, and she was a big part of episode 1 as well. You know, we see her kind of getting close with Justin, who is a fan favorite. He was on Paradise before, and there's a little bit of drama starting there with the potential of Susie joining the cast as well.
Yeah, and her first date gets canceled, which is...
Yeah, what? Like
canceled. On to the next.
Sorry, guys, it's raining. We can't proceed.
I just wanted them. I was like, at least like let him go hang out in the room or something.
I was like, we can't set up an indoor dinner. Like, we don't have a rain plan.
Yeah, or like the lobbies, or like a lobby with a fireplace where they could have like a glass of wine or like get to know each other a little bit.
That was shocking. But we can't wait to get her take on Justin, her date, and everything to do with episode 1.
Yeah, let's bring her in. Lexi, welcome back to Bachelor Happy Hour. How are you?
Thank you. I'm happy to be back. I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're good. We're good. Before we get into episode 1, a little background. You are from Joey's season. Man, it's been a while. Joey's season. Joey's season's been a while. You were on Joey's season. Where are you now? Where do you live? What's kind of been going on pre-Paradise?
Yeah, so I was on Joey's season and I came back to Atlanta, which is where I'm still currently living. And I came back to my corporate job. So nothing too crazy in terms of changes, but I did start a business, which has been really exciting. And so I just quit my corporate job recently and I'm doing the business full time now. So I've been traveling a lot. And yeah, it's kind of been a whirlwind. I can't believe it's been as long as it has since the season. Time is crazy right now.
What is the business?
It's a dating business. So it's called In the Wild and it's in-person dating. So we do matchmaking, in-person dating events, speed dating. And yeah, it's been fun. There's 3 couples that are engaged and we have over 100 couples that are dating and it's only been a year. So it's definitely working. But it was fun to kind of get to play matchmaker on the beach just since I've been doing that for the last year. So
that's crazy. So what are some things that you look for when you're trying to set people up?
You try to look at the person as a whole. I think so much is like list driven these days. Like I want them to be this height, they want them to look like this. I want them to have this type of job. But I think if you strip some of that away, what I'm finding through all of this is like in person, people meet individuals and they're actually very surprised, like from a personality connection, like they wouldn't have matched with them on a dating app. But once they get talking to them in a room and don't have like a checklist in front of them of like their height, occupation, all of that, they are more open-minded to meeting different people. And so I've definitely been trying to lean into that as well as, I was dating before the show, seeing someone as the whole and not just a list.
Yeah. Where could people find your website, your services if they want to take advantage? And is it across the US? Is it just Atlanta?
We're about to kick off a tour. And so we're going to be going to major cities across the US and basically bringing this pop-up activation there. You guys can find us on Instagram in the Wild Dating and TikTok, and then our website as well, which is linked in all of those social platforms. But yeah, we're excited to bring it to other cities like Charleston, Nashville, LA. So it should be fun.
I love that. That is so fun.
Have you dated since Joey's season?
Yeah, I dated someone briefly after Joey's season and, it's a good guy, but just kind of not on the same page that I was on. And I think I talked about that a lot on Joey's season, what I'm looking for. And so it was a good experience, but I kind of, dated him right after the show. And then I jumped right into building this business. And so when Paradise came along, I had a lot of mixed feelings about it, but I hadn't dated in a little bit. And so it was, yeah, we'll talk about that more, I'm sure. But it was definitely it was a stretch for me.
Yeah. I was thinking about you the other day because I knew we were probably going to have you on the podcast. And one of my girlfriends called me and is getting the surgery done to see if she has endometriosis. How are you doing with all of that?
It's been, transparently, it's every day. It has its own challenges. I'm coming up on having another surgery at the end of the summer. And so before that, I'll have to freeze my eggs one more time. I froze them right before I went on Joey's season. And so, endo is a systemic disease with no cure. And so unfortunately, it ebbs and flows, definitely have worse weeks than others. But luckily I have an amazing team of doctors and hopefully eventually, a supportive partner, and my eggs are frozen and we can, come up with a plan that's best for our family. But yeah, thank you for asking. it's just a part of me at this point. Not going anywhere, but I'm trying my best to stay positive.
Did it impact your experience filming Paradise in any way?
Yeah, I think it was the second day, and time there is obviously, everything feels like you're living 10 days in one.
Mhm.
And on the second day, I had a really bad flare. And so I just like, for some reason on Joey's season, it was a little like easier because I could wear like, a flowy dress, but we were on the beach in bikinis. So, I was like kind of dying inside because, obviously all the girls are in such good shape. And then I'm over here, like I looked like 8 months pregnant, obviously out of my control. It was an endo flare. Great
Yeah.
doctors on the show. I've always had such a good experience. They take such good care of me, but it did feel in a bathing suit. I was like, this is worst case scenario, but out of my control.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense.
So you get the call for Paradise. Where's your head at? Like, are you an instant yes? What are you thinking?
No, I think I was an instant no at first. And I think a
Okay.
lot of people when they found out, when they dropped the cast were surprised. And I was like, I was surprised too. I think when I first heard about it, or got that invitation from production, it was, I don't know if it's the best fit for me just because of, exactly the reason why I left Joey's season, what I'm looking for. Like, are these guys truly ready for that? And then you don't know who the guys are ahead of time. And so I wasn't sure there would be someone there that was, maybe a little older and more ready for that next step. Who knows? I'm sure a lot of the guys, depending on their age, could be ready for different things. But, and I also am just not an aggressive personality. And so I was like, I don't even know if I'll do well there because if someone's fighting over a guy, I would just be like, you can have them. Like, I couldn't even, it would just give me anxiety. So at first I was like, I don't think it's for me. So that's kind of where we started.
Did you watch Bachelor in Paradise going into this,
I
into
have
the new
not
one?
seen it in so long. I have not seen it since like Hannah and Dylan's like season. And so I know Paradise, but I had not watched it in years. So I felt like I was a little behind, but then they kept saying this season was going to be so different. And so they were like kind of scrap everything you know about it before. And so that made me feel a little better.
Yeah. So what were your initial thoughts when you got there and everything was very different?
They kept saying there's going to be these challenges, and I was so nervous we were going to be on like Wipeout or something. I was like, I am not like prepared for Survivor, like
Yeah.
wrong contestant. But once I got there, I mean, it's such a beautiful resort, like truly, really, they upgraded. They have air conditioning, which I'm sure you guys probably are jealous that you didn't have air conditioning. I heard from like Kat, who had done Paradise before, that this was infinitely nicer.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I mean, the beach is the beach, but I was grateful to have air conditioning. And the Goldens, knowing they were coming was fun. And having Hannah there was like a really nice mix up. So it was positive, like energy walking into it for sure. It felt very fresh.
That's
When
good.
when you guys got to Costa Rica, did you I'm like kind of breaking the fourth wall with this question, but like you obviously stay in a room for a few days before they send you down. Did you stay at that hotel or did you stay somewhere else and they brought you onto set?
Stay somewhere else, and they brought us onto set. The other hotel was very close. I mean, it was a less than a 10-minute drive, but you are in isolation until you get called down to the beach. And when you do get called down, you don't know if people have been there for days, one day,
Yeah.
hours. So same as I guess before.
Were you at all worried that you may not be original cast, that they could drop you?
I did. Yeah. I expressed those concerns to production. And it was mostly, I wasn't trying to be like, I want to be there first. It was really because of my personality being a little bit more like mellow. I was nervous. I'm not the bombshell. Like, don't bring me in later. I don't think I would do well in that. And so they kind of reassured me that I would be there early on to be able to establish a connection. So I was like, okay, maybe one first day, second day, but I've heard in the past they bring in people so much later. So you never know.
Yeah.
And that's totally fair. I think anyone going on the show that's like really serious about finding a genuine connection, the earlier the better. I mean, that's no secret.
Totally.
Okay, so you get down there. You were kind of down there earlier in the day for sure.
Early.
What are your original thoughts? What are those first conversations like?
Yeah, it was so hot. That was my first thought. I was like, how does everyone look good on this show? Like, I just could not stop thinking about the sweating. But it was, we walked in, there was two other people there, Spencer and Alex, Spencer from Jen's season, Alex from Grant's season. I had known Spencer like just through, social media before this, and he's such a great guy. And Alex was so vibrant, like very energetic. So it was really good energy when we walked in. But I think it was we were all just waiting to see who was coming down next. So it's kind of just like a waiting game. And I think at that point, like Wells wasn't there. Hannah definitely wasn't there. So we were all just kind of like scoping it out. We didn't know if the Goldens were coming that day. Like we didn't know anything.
Hot days, humid nights, and non-stop plans. All that heat can increase hair shedding while it packs to different life stages. Building a hair growth routine. Promo code.
Great drinks. It is imported by.
He not only understands that gap.
AT&T and never need.
What's the abilities of now?
So going down, obviously we see you kind of form a connection with Justin. But who were kind of the guys that you were looking to talk to or interested in?
Yeah, so I didn't have a specific name, but I definitely wanted someone who was a little bit older and maybe someone that I hadn't met before. And there was a guy down there, Kyle, and I was really excited because I didn't know who he was. I didn't know what season he came from. So it's just like very intriguing to get to know him better. But otherwise, I think I knew all of the guys, at least from social media, besides Kyle.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. We asked Jess that too. We were just trying to get a vibe on like how well everyone knew each other going in. So I feel like it's different every season.
Totally.
Which I think was good this season, that it was more like we kind of know of each other, but we all don't really know each other. I think that's always better. I think one of the past few seasons, it just seemed like everyone like
had met and been partying together
like,
already.
This is boring TV.
There was like the stagecoach thing, right? Like I didn't go to stagecoach this year, so
yeah, it's probably for the best.
Yeah, totally.
So down there the first day, all the cast is there. Who are the people that you're closest with?
I'm really close to Jess. She's from my season. She's amazing. And I think that was from a girl perspective. She was the only one that I knew from my season, but I really started to get close to Bailey and Zoe and Alex. And so it was so nice having them there. And Jonathan, I had talked to on social media a little bit before. And so it felt like kind of talking to a friend. So I think at first we were all like kind of grouped together and then people started to pair off, but it was nice to have some familiar faces. It made it a little more comfortable.
Was there a romantic spark at all with you and Jonathan ever, or no?
You know, I never got to explore it. I that first day was so chaotic just with, getting to know everyone. And then I got that one-on-one on the first day and then it got rained out. And so they swiftly bring you to your room and you got to get ready and hurry. And so I actually ended up waiting in the room for like 5.5 hours because every time lightning, they had to wait. And so I missed those 5.5 hours where I was in the room was when everyone else was like mixing and mingling. And so Jonathan and I never really had a chance to go deeper that first day, which was now I'm starting to learn like in Paradise Day 1 is so critical. Yeah. So I kind of missed that.
God, that's such a bummer. I mean, like that is just how it goes with the rain, obviously, but it probably sucks because you're like, I can't even hang out with Justin. I can't even like get to know all these people. And like then by the time day 2 hits and you've been chilling in your room against your will, everyone's a little more coupled up.
Totally. And then the thing about day 2 was we had the makeup date. So like the whole night 1, I'm in my room in isolation. And then day 2, we went on our day date to make up the date from the night prior that got rained out. So I missed a lot of that early time.
You must have been like, thank God I have a rose this week because at least I know I've got, that next week to have more time.
Totally. Yeah. I was, when we found out that the woman had the roses first, I was so happy for a lot of reasons. But when the timing shook out with like my date being canceled and rescheduled, I was like, thank God. Otherwise I'd be freaking out. I was like, I don't know who I'd get a rose from.
Yeah.
Did you know? So Justin comes to your room and is like, hey, bad news, date's canceled. Do you guys already know that it's going to be rescheduled? Like,
no, not at that point. I was actually, the whole thing was so crazy because I was in my room for so long, I actually fell asleep. And so when he knocked, fully in a dress, like full makeup, ready to go. So when he knocked on the door, I thought it was production or a handler and it was him. He was like, we'll try to figure something out for tomorrow, but we had no clue if we were going to be able to make it up just with filming and the schedule being so tight.
Was any part of you like, I'm on The Bachelor, why do we not have a rain plan? Like we're at a hotel, like couldn't we go do dinner? Or was it just like so late by the time they made the call?
It was so late, new season, new vibes, new cameras, like it's so many elevated points with that, but also comes with pain points. Like I think that, yes, I'm sure it'd be nice to have a plan B and a rain plan, but I don't think anyone anticipated these storms. I mean, they were insane. Like I've never seen anything like it. So and then the staff, camera crew had been working so late, it was midnight at that point. So even if I went on the date, I'd be exhausted.
Yeah, you wouldn't even really want to.
No, that makes sense. I can.
It was like our first date.
Was it raining?
It wasn't raining, but we were both sick, and it was late, and we were like, we don't even want to be on
I was
this
like
thing.
running out of our shuttle to like go throw up before our first date,
and it was like late too in the week. We had to like wrestle. It was like it was
the
worst.
It was not sexy. I'll tell you that. But it makes sense. They're probably waiting, being like, okay, it's gonna let up, it's gonna let up, it's gonna let up, and then all of a sudden it's midnight. It's like, well, I guess you're going to bed. How did you feel though? Were you really disappointed?
I was disappointed because I wish that we had been able to wait with the rest of the cast outside and not in our rooms.
Yeah.
I felt like I lost a lot of time. And then as a girl, like I was like, I got all ready. It's just, and especially when we're at the beach, I was like, I had pool hair and I had to, do the whole thing. And so it's such first world problems. But I also wanted to spend time with Justin. I was excited at that point. I was like, oh my God, the first one-on-one of Paradise, like how fun, and especially you're in isolation for so long. I was like, let's go do something. Like I wanted to do an activity. I was like, we could zip line. Anyways, so it's okay. We made up the date the next day.
Yeah. Tell us about how the date actually ended up going once you had it.
Yeah. So he had talked to Hannah and was like, hey, explain the situation. And they like brainstormed and created this little date. We went and like sat on a bench, got to talk a little bit, ate some lunch, and then we swam. So I think Justin was like so disappointed because he's like, this is so lame. We could have done this like at the Paradise set, but it was nice to have the uninterrupted time and being removed from the cast. But like the timeline, as a viewer, I don't think you realize like we woke up, got ready for the date, did all of our interviews, went on the date, did post-date interviews, and then we had maybe 30 minutes to get ready for that first rose ceremony. So we missed an entire day. And again, the second day is so important.
Yeah.
So what are you, after this date, during this date, what are you feeling? Are you liking him? What's your intuition telling you? Like, I can marry this guy, or?
I wasn't there yet. I think I had talked to Susie before coming out to Paradise, just because her and I are like very similar life stages. And
so you and Susie
that's wild that's the person you went to for advice and you ended up on a date with Justin.
We talked quite a bit. And so, I had never could have anticipated Justin asking me on the date. He pulled myself and Alex, and I think I'm open-minded. It's day one. Like, of course I'm going to say yes, but I definitely had hesitations in my head, just being, having that conversation with Susie and kind of, understanding they have this history. I know she's in holding at the hotel at this point. So at any point she can come down. Like her and I flew there on the same day. So I knew she was there.
Wait, are you and Susie friends, or did you just kind of like reach out to her for advice?
We just reached out and kind of, definitely became very good friends through this. But at this point before, I think it was more kind of, her and I just saying, what are we looking for in this? And, we're both at this age, and who do we think is coming? Which as soon as I told Justin that we had the phone call, I think his like whole demeanor changed, because he was like, you're kidding me. Like I picked the one girl here who's like, friendly, has talked to my ex, that it was very, recent breakup. So I definitely had hesitations, I will say, is how I kind of felt about him. But I was like, let's go, let's see what he's about. I know he's funny and something I'm looking for in my partner. And so but I had hesitations.
So going into the rose ceremony, are you like, cause it shows you're like a little hesitant on giving Justin your rose. Who would you have given it to if you didn't give it to Justin?
I would have given it to Kyle or Jonathan. I think Kyle, just from the very brief conversation we had, he seemed like there was potential there, but I didn't get enough to be like, really dive in more about what he's looking for in his story. And then Jonathan, I just think because we had this like friendship and we've talked before, and I know he's a good guy, that felt like maybe it would have been a safer option. He's more available, right? His ex isn't coming down to the beach. But because I had that time with Justin and we had the conversations where he reassured me so many times that he is healed from this relationship with Susie, I ended up giving him the rose. We had the most time together, and he really, really, really reassured me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Dale Moss gets thrown down there, and Dale's older. He's 36.
Yep.
Did you have a conversation with him at all? Because it seems like that could have been a good fit for
It
you.
does. I think Dale's a great guy. I was not expecting to see him there. That was probably the biggest surprise for me from a cast perspective. But he, I guess what I've gathered from talking to all these guys post show is that they all just assumed Justin and I were coupled up. And so because we had that date when Dale arrived and we had already gone on the date, I believe.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think so.
I think he had asked you on the date that first day.
That's what it is.
And then Dale came down. So you were kind of already locked in on that date with Justin.
Yeah, and they're friendly. I think they have similar circles outside of this, and they've hung out. And so I think that, Dale kind of just stayed away. And I heard that from Jonathan after. I heard that from Kyle. I've heard that from multiple guys saying that they just kind of saw I was with Justin and didn't want to get involved because we had that date early on.
Yeah, it is wild how that happens. I feel like that kind of happens every season, even on ours, where it's like, oh, I thought you were in a couple, and people get really cautious about like stepping on toes, even if it's like, oh, we're just getting to know each other. It's only been 2 days. Like, I'm still open.
This episode of Bachelor Happy Hour is brought to you by Malibu. Even if you're just
Spills, stains, pets. Sign lets you
Satisfaction, but also real freedom. Freedom to-do list right in front of you. To the distant goal only you can see.
there's going to be more app for deals and savings. Visit your local CVS store.
Fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity.
Point where I was starting to get a little frustrated because it's just not what I signed up for. It's not Justin or Susie's fault. They both deserve a chance to.
Susie likely came.
Great guy. And
Learn more at Fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
Dale's a great guy and he is older.
Yeah. In terms of your relationship with Justin, did you feel worried about what the dynamic was going to be when Susie likely came down?
I was worried. I was so worried. It's all I talked about. If you ask Jess, like she was my roommate, it's all I talked about, to the point where I was starting to get a little frustrated because it's just not what I signed up for. It's not Justin or Susie's fault. They both deserve a chance to meet someone new and get a relationship that's right for them. But I started to feel like I was in the middle. And at this point, Susie still hasn't come to the beach. But whenever Justin talked about her, his whole demeanor changed, where I started to have a gut feeling that there was still something there, which is fair. They just broke up. They dated for a long time. It's not the craziest thing.
What was the time frame? We see in your interview, you're kind of like, I think it's only been 2 to 3 months. Was that what it had been?
I think so. That's coming from him. When I talked to Susie after, we've connected since, like it almost seems like it was more recent that they were together. Yeah. But again, not my story to tell. And, I just really didn't want to be involved.
Yeah, but also crucial information for you and kind of other people dating them on the beach. I mean, if they say that they're ready, obviously you want to take them at face value and trust that. But I mean, I can understand, and I'm sure Justin could also, why you had your hesitations.
Totally. But again, like when I had the rose, he stood 10 toes down that he was fully moved on from this relationship and ready to meet someone new, or he wouldn't have come to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Maybe this is just because I am a gambler, but why not roll the dice and be like, you know what? I didn't have much time with Jonathan or Kyle, but we are only a few days in. Maybe something will form within the next couple days. Maybe take a shot on one of them.
Yeah, but then Justin would have gone home.
I know.
Oh, you're saying like
I'm saying
screw
like,
Justin, go a different direction?
Yeah, if internally the Susie thing you knew was always going to bother you, why not maybe pivot and take that chance?
Yeah, I regret it. It's one of my, I don't have a lot of regrets, but that is a regret. And I was talking to my mom about that recently. I think because I had that one-on-one with Justin, and for whatever unknown reason, I felt like I owed him the rose because we got to open up about things. I had the most time with him, and I just didn't have that with Kyle or Jonathan. But I think if I could go back, I would pull Justin right before the rose ceremony and say exactly what you just said. These hesitations aren't going anywhere, and it's kind of actually affecting me to be able to immerse myself in this. And so because of that, I'm going to take a chance on Kyle or Jonathan. And in the moment, it all feels so much pressure. And we had the one-on-one. It just, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, in hindsight's always 2020. I mean, you're now looking back on it, kind of understanding that maybe he wasn't as ready as you thought he was that first week, and like maybe you could have furthered something with Kyle. But I think in that moment, you're probably like, well, I've invested so much time in this person, and I kind of know where their head is at least what they're telling me. Like, let's kind of see where this can go.
Totally. That's literally exactly what happened.
Okay, so going into the rose ceremony, who would you say is the strongest couple?
Going into the rose ceremony, I would say Jess and Spencer, and I was her roommate, so I got like a front row seat. They were just instantly connected. She has a very similar personality to him. They're both so bubbly. Like, it was just so obvious. Like, I think Spencer would like go to war for Jess. Like, and this is after knowing her for 2 days. Like, it was just really sweet to watch.
Yeah, they had really, really good chemistry from that first conversation.
So good. Like, it was just like two pieces that fit together and made a lot of sense. And I loved them both. So I was really just happy. I was so happy for her and him, you know, but I was over in the corner just like on the show X on the Beach pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah.
What did you think of?
You have.
Yeah, I have.
You can all laugh about it now. It's okay.
What did you think of the game?
I think it was great to do the compatibility challenges. Like, you get to see more of the person. And yeah, I thought it was actually really fun. I think some people were a little stressed about, but you could like tell who was who with the silhouettes too. Sorry, Bachelor.
That's what Jess was saying. She was like, based on like heights, anyone that was in like a standing pose, you could immediately kind of see who
immediately. Yeah, but it was so fun. Like, I think that's the type of things we need to be doing. As fun as it is to like sit in the pool and talk, like, you know, that we get to know them on a little deeper level. And yeah, it was cute.
What did you think of the Hakeem Ricky fight?
I was just gonna ask that. Yeah.
I really enjoyed both of them. I think Hakeem is like he's passionate. He's a passionate man.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect him for that. I don't think it needed to get to that point. It was a little heated in the moment, but you know, everyone's on edge. Hakeem was invited to this quite a while ago. He's been waiting so long. I'm sure because of that, he feels maybe more pressure, right? Because he was announced earlier. So I try to give him the benefit of the doubt. It was squashed pretty quickly.
Yeah, it kind of translated as a viewer watching it. To me, it looked like Ricky kind of made like a casual dig at Hakeem, probably not thinking anything of it. Hakeem might have been feeling some sensitivity and like insecurity throughout that challenge and just that day in general. And it just escalated way past maybe where either of them thought it was going to go.
Yep, exactly. And I think they both, from what I remember, didn't have like a super strong connection, like an immediate connection. So there's probably some, you know, feelings there too, because there's so much build up to this, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Who were you surprised went home, if anyone, or were there any roses that were handed out that shocked you?
I was surprised Sam M went home. I think he is, you know, he's a great personality. He had the one-on-one card, but he kind of had a disadvantage because he came in and gave the date to Jess, and she had already established a connection with Spencer. So I think, you know, Jess had so much fun on that date. I think she just had a stronger connection with Spencer. And so I think Sam was a little bit at a loss. Like, he came in and he was like, well, who am I connecting with here? It's all about timing too. Like, when he came down to the beach, it was just kind of like a weird time because there already had been a lot of formal connections.
Yeah, he was in a tough spot because I guess he kind of like missed out on that first day, and then he comes down, he immediately takes Jess, and he doesn't really have time to like get to know anyone else to have like a secondary possibility to get a rose. So that's hard. We were actually bummed to see him go so early because we thought there was like maybe some potential there for him to find someone.
Yeah, I think he also deserved like a chance to retell his story. I think on Jen's season, he was portrayed in a light that's not who he is. He's come to Atlanta a few times. His friend Thomas lives there from his season, and so I've seen them out, and he is a really sweet guy. So I was bummed he didn't get a chance to have like his redemption story moment, but that's okay. That, you know, he can live his life how he wants after this.
Yeah, and you know, it's still he got a mini redemption, you know, like his time on the show was short, but like he came across like a gentleman and everyone seemed to have good interactions with him, and like it leaves
not enough. He needed
not
more.
enough, but I feel like it leaves the audience at least with a good taste in their mouth.
Yeah. I'm going to throw out a hypothetical for you. Let's say you know who Justin is,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't follow him on Instagram or social media. You never spoke to Susie. You know who she is, but you don't even know they dated. And you and Susie never talked. Do you think that would have changed everything for you?
I think it would have had a significant impact on how I was feeling.
It's super complicated. Do you think, had you, in this hypothetical, not known about the Susie situation, do you think Justin would have brought it up on his own? Like, what was his approach to handling it?
That's a really good question, because I believe I was the first one that brought it up, because I brought up the phone call. I talked to Jess the night before our rescheduled date, and I said, how do I bring this up? Right. Like, and so I was like, I'm going to just be really honest, because I had the call with her. We talked for a really long time, and I, wanted to get that out there. And so, I don't know. I think the whole thing was just kind of, it was really making me spiral is what I would say. Yeah.
I get that. I think, not that you're asking for my advice, but I'm gonna throw it out there. I think the best way to go into paradise is with the attitude of fuck all these people. And I'm here solely for myself to see if I can find a connection, because there is a lot of that where you meet people, you're half-ass friends with people, and it could potentially ruin something great for like this bullshit friendship.
I know, but I do feel like it's harder with women and female friendships a little bit.
You always say that, but I'm a good friend.
You're great. You're a
I'm
great
a good
friend.
I wouldn't do that to
just
my
think
friend.
that
I'm just saying, when we all go on a dating show to date each other, it kind of has to be like, you know what? I'm doing me. Fuck everyone.
I guess, yeah.
And honestly, Joe, if I had done that, I wouldn't have given him the rose. I would have given him Kyle or Jonathan, and I can say that with 100% confidence.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, we are very excited to watch the rest of the season. The first episode was great. You look great in it, and we're excited, to see where the rest goes. So thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. I'm excited. Should be a good journey.
And good luck with your company.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
to all our listeners, thank you guys for tuning in to Bachelor Happy Hour. Make sure you download and subscribe.
We have new exclusive interviews coming every single week. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.